Hello, MEEN210 students. I received multiple requests to assist with solving a couple actually of the practice examples that I posted. So the one that you see here, practice SolidWorks parts practice number 10, this was one of them, and the request was mainly has to do with how this part over here can be modeled. Let's get started, and I will show you how to do it very simply. So I'll start by resizing SolidWorks. Let's put it side by side with our image. Start a new part. Okay, millimeter gram second. And let's have a look at the part that we have to see how to start it correctly. So we see that our part is basically a vertical cylinder here, and then there is a horizontal plate with a U-shaped feature over here, and then a rib, triangular rib over there, and then these two tabs at the back side. And notice that there's a slot over here, because this part is apparently used like a clamp that clamps on a tube or something. There can be multiple ways to start this part, but let's say that I'll start it this way. So on the top plane, I'll start by drawing the circle that represents this cylinder and the U-shaped and the extents that define this horizontal plate. So on the top plane, I'll do this. So this will be the outer diameter of the cylinder. This will be the inner diameter of the cylinder. And then I'll draw a horizontal center line. And from there, I'll draw a straight line, arc, and then another straight line. These define the inner surface of the U-shaped feature over there. I'll add some relations here, so I'll make these two lines equal. I'll put the center line on, sorry, the center mark of the arc on the center line to make sure that it stays symmetric. Then I'll look at dimensions. So the thickness of this U-shaped feature is 10 millimeters. So I will simply offset this shape 10 millimeters towards the outside, and I will cap the end with lines. And this will give me a shape that looks like this. Then I can add the inner distance here as 15 and the length of this straight section as 15 as well. Then let's see the diameter of the cylinder, which is a radius of 22.5, which is 45 millimeters, and the thickness, the inner radius is 12.5, so that's 25 millimeters diameter. Okay, we need them to bring them close together, and this can be done by adding this dimension of 75 millimeters between the center of the cylinder and the center of the arc of the U-shape. So this and this is 75. And finally, you can see here that this horizontal plate is tangent to the cylinder, and it ends at this edge of the U-shaped part. So it starts from here and it ends with a tangent relation over there. So I'll pick this point and this circle, and I'll make sure they are, sorry, the line and the circle, and make sure they're tangent, and that's it. And I'll do the same thing over there. And this already added the tangent relation right there. Now we are ready to go. exit the sketch, and let's start extruding. Okay, so we can start by extruding the base plate if you want, with 10mm thickness. So this thing, I'll extrude it upwards 10mm, will be like this. Then I'll open again to select the sketch once more, and you'll see that the U-shaped part is 20mm thick overall. The base plate thickness is 10, and it extends 5mm above, and of course 5mm below, if you do the math correctly. So I will open extrusion, I'll pick the U-shaped section, and I need this to extend above the sketch plane a distance of 10, which is the thickness of the base plate, the horizontal plate, plus 5, so this will be 15. Sorry, I should not have entered that. I'll just edit the feature once more, and I will activate direction 2, and I will make it extend 5mm towards the bottom. So if we accept, you see that it's equally extruded above and below. Then select the same sketch once more, and we'll do a similar thing with the cylinder over there. So I'll pick the cylinder. The cylinder's overall height is 50mm from the drawing. 35 of them are above the base plate, and 15 are below. So 35 plus 10, we have 45 above the sketch plane, and only 5mm below. It should look like this. If you accept and look at the isometric view, this is how it looks like. Okay, so it's starting to get in shape. Let's add the rib. So to draw the rib, we need a straight line connecting the quadrant point here to this quadrant point along a plane that passes through the center. So looking at the planes, we have the front plane that passes through the center of the part. I'll start a new sketch on the plane, and we can simply draw a line between these 2 points. You can exit. The thickness of the rib is 10mm. So this is 10. Make sure it's pointing. So flip the material side to point inwards. And this did not work. Okay. Okay, in this case we need to do it manually. So to do it manually, I'll just edit the sketch this time, and all what we need to do is extend the sketch slightly towards the thickness of the part. So this will be the shape of the sketch. And we can extrude this mid-plane with a value of 10mm to have a rib. Okay, right. Now let's get to the feature that has confused some of you. So these 2 tabs are extending from the back side of the cylinder horizontally, and we can simply make one of them and mirror the other side, mirror the other one to the other side, or we can model them at once. Okay, so one thing to remember is that the tab is intersecting this cylinder. So the intersection between them is not a flat surface, it's this cylindrical surface. So this I think this is what might be causing the confusion over there. Let's see how we can deal with this. So one way to tackle this is to start sketching the tab as a rectangle from the top view. And if we do this, we can simply draw it this way, starting from the outer cylindrical surface of circular surface of our cylinder. So let's see what I mean by this. First, let's see where it is located. So the center point of this circle, which is the midpoint of this tab, is 25 millimeters from. Okay, so the extension line here extends to the bottom of the horizontal plate. All right, so 25 millimeters from the bottom of the horizontal plate. So for this, I will create a reference plane. So I'll pick the bottom surface of this plate and I will add the distance to be 25 millimeters, flipped upwards. So this would be the location of my sketch. And this represents the center of the tab. So again, this reference plane is 25 millimeters from the bottom surface of the horizontal plane. I will select the surface, start a new sketch, and for this new sketch, what I will do is that I will create a center line, and then I will draw a center rectangle will work. I'll place a center point on the center line, and I will draw the rectangle like this. So this rectangle represents both tabs together. So what is the length of this rectangle? So apparently here, according to those dimensions, the distance from the center of the vertical cylinder to the center point, see here, the extension line goes to the center point of the tab, is 35 millimeters. So this dimension is this one, from the center of the cylinder to the center point of the tab. This is 35, and then we need to add this distance, which will be defined by the radius of the tab. So the outer radius of the tab is 15, so this distance from here to here should be 15 millimeters. Okay, now we have everything placed in its correct location. I will now define the width of both tabs together. So the width here is given by 13 plus 5 plus 13. So that's 26 and 5. As usual, you can do the math on your own, or you can add them if you like. So 31 millimeters. So this end of the tabs is fine, but we need to close these gaps. So to close those gaps, I will simply delete this line from the rectangle. Okay, and we can also delete the diagonals, and I can pull this end point until it touches here, and this end point until it touches there, and then pick these 2 points with control and make them vertical. Now I have a fully defined sketch. This sketch is still open from this side, so I'll pick this circle and I will use the project convert entities or project sketch, project edges, to project the edge of the circle to my sketch. And we can trim the end of the circle. Okay, now we have the geometry of the tabs ready for extrusion. So now that we have this here, the thickness of the tab is the outer diameter. So the radius is 15, the diameter is 30. So our extrusion thickness will be mid-plane 30 millimeters. And then we can go to add a fillet that is 15 millimeters in radius between this edge and this edge. Now we have both tabs with correct geometries created at the correct location. Now I'll pick this face, or actually it's front plane, which passes to the center, to draw this hole over here. So I'm snapping the center point of the hole to the center point of this arc just by touching the arc, and then we are given the radius, the diameter of this hole as 16 millimeters. So we add here 16, and we'll cut, extrude cut through all both sides, and now we have the tabs open. I can hide this plane right now, and you see that the shape is starting to get similar to the image. Finally, we need this slot cut here, so I'll pick the top face of the cylinder, and we can simply draw a center rectangle from here that ends maybe at the origin, and we need to define the width of this rectangle, which is 5 millimeters. So we'll add the dimension here as 5. You can add any length, doesn't matter. For this case, just to make sure it's fully defined, and we can exit, and for this we'll cut through all downwards, and this completes the part. Okay, well, but by looking at this section here, you can see here that this edge of the cylinder is aligned with the cut of the tabs, but in the drawing here it seems that the tabs are lower than our model. So apparently here there is a mistake in the height of the tabs in my model. So I think the tabs in my 3D model should be slightly downwards, which means that the height of the plane that I created maybe should be aligned with the end of the cylinder, not the base plate. So I'll go back here. Luckily, I don't have to repeat everything. I'll just pick the plane once more, and I need this to be lower by 5 millimeters. So let's make this 20 instead. Okay, instead of 25, and this makes it, yes, it looks much better now. Now you see this corner is intersecting with this surface, similar to this guy over here, which ensures that the model is now correct. Okay, that's the first one. Let's look at the second one that I received as well, which is this guy over here. Again, it has to do with those tabs. So very similarly, let's start a new part. So this shape is even simpler. So looking at this circle over here, I can see that I can pick a plane that's parallel to this surface. I can draw this profile, extrude inwards, and I should get the shape that I need. So here's this circle, and this circle has a rectangle at one side, and then two smaller rectangles on the other side that I will draw as one, and then I'll mirror it down there. So I'll mirror this guy around this line. Okay, so let's add dimensions. So the outer diameter of this circle is 60. So let me add 60, and the inner, I didn't add it yet, so let's add it later. The thickness of the rectangle at the back is 18, so this is 18, and okay, from the other view you can see that if you follow the extension, the distance from the center to the end of the rectangle is 35, and from the center towards the end of the part is 54. 42 plus 12, 54. Okay, so from here to here, this is 35, and from here to the end, this is 54. thickness of this guy, again from the section view, is 8 millimeters, and the distance between them is 6 millimeters. Okay, and bring those here slightly, and then I'll add the inner circle, which has a diameter of 44, again from the section view. Now all what we need, I'll bring this here to be coincident with the circle, so I can trim away the unnecessary parts of the model, which will be here, this guy here, here, all the inner parts, and similarly this guy as well. Okay, now why is this? Oh, this needs to be horizontal for this to be fully defined, and this one. Make these equal. Now we are fully defined. Okay, now we have a shape that we can extrude. But before extruding, since we are still at this view, and if you remember what we did with the previous model, we can actually draw. We can draw rectangles that represent the tabs like this from this view. If you look at the drawing correctly, closely, it's very easy to make these. So I'll make these equal. I'll have a vertical straight line from the origin point, and we can put the dimensions. Dimensions are given. If you get back to the drawing, this is 12, the other side is 12, and the distance in between is also 12. 12, 12, 12. To make this at the center, I can simply press Ctrl and select this line, the center line, and this line, and add a symmetric relationship. This will ensure that both sides as if they are mirrored. Now let's add the rest of the dimensions. We need to find out the height of the part. We don't need this guy now. Let's get this drawn. So the height. Okay, so the total height here, the distance between this center and that center is 110, and the total height will be plus the radius on this side and the radius on that side. So 110 plus the diameter of this part, which is 36, 18 plus 18, so 146. This is the total height. So the distance from here to here will be 146 divided by 2. That should give us the total height. And then we need to define the depth of this part over there. So we have, okay, so it's given here. So from this base to the center is 20, and the radius is 18. So that should be 38. This guy and this guy should be aligned, and now we are fully defined. The last thing I'm going to do is to mirror this guy down there. So I'll mirror these lines around this center line, and now we get the complete part. I'll exit, and now we can start extruding. So I'll start with the circle and the plates. Let's pick the sketch, extrude this section here. I'll use the mid-plane extrusion, and the thickness is 50. Here is it, 50, first shape. And the thickness of those tabs are the diameter, so 18 and 18, so it should be 36. So I'll pick the sketch again, extrude once more, mid-plane. Now I'll pick this section and this section only, and I will enter 36 as the distance. and this gives us the whole shape. Now if you go to add a fillet with a radius of 18, here, 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 and downwards as well, you can figure out where those edges are. You will get the shape that's almost done. All that remains now are the ribs and a few holes and a few fillets. That's it. So I hope this clarifies those parts, and let me know if you're still having any problems with them. Enjoy modeling.